Listen carefully. A voice has been stirring in your spirit, quiet but relentless. You feel it when the world grows too loud, when distractions eat your focus, when your strength fades though you've done nothing to deserve such weariness. This is not accident. This is the silent war for your attention, and it is happening now. I bring you no prophecy of doom. The true danger is far more subtle. It is the slow drift of a chosen one forgetting why they were chosen. It is not one great fall that destroys a soul, but 1,000 small concessions. Each time you scroll without thought, each time you speak words that won't, each time you break the discipline of prayer or silence, you step away from alignment. In this message, you will uncover why stillness is the strongest form of power. You will see how Shaolin discipline reveals a hidden law that mastery comes not from talent, but from endless practice done in silence. I will show you how the weight of careless words can cut down your authority, how shortcuts poison the roots of true strength, and why humility is the fireproof vessel every chosen one must carry. These truths are rarely spoken because they are not easy. They demand vigilance, they demand humility, they demand a return to the narrow road. But if you stay until the end of this teaching, you will walk away with something no distraction can steal: clarity, strength, and the reminder of who you truly are. Welcome, chosen ones, to Shaolin Soulfire. I invite you to subscribe and walk this path with us, because the fire must never be left unattended. There is a saying among the old monks: the one who walks with open eyes sees 1,000 paths, but the one who walks half asleep sees none. Vigilance is not about fear, it is about presence. To be truly awake is to stand in life without letting it slip by unnoticed. I once watched my master pour tea. He poured slowly, carefully, with no wasted motion. Yet when the cup filled, he stopped at the exact drop before it spilled. I asked him, "How can you know the right moment without looking?" He smiled and said, "Because my mind is here with the water, not somewhere else." That lesson never left me. Many live like empty cups spilling over, so busy running, so busy chasing, that they do not notice they are losing themselves drop by drop. This is the danger of autopilot. When you allow the mind to drift, you give the world permission to use you, and the world has many weapons: noise, temptation, endless stimulation. Every distraction steals a fragment of your attention until nothing of you remains whole. For the chosen, this loss is deadly. Your calling requires sharpness. Your path demands a mind that cuts through confusion like a blade through silk. Vigilance is the shield. When you return your awareness to the breath, to the step beneath your feet, to the stillness inside your chest, you reclaim power. No storm of distraction can break a mind anchored in the present, so learn to notice. The bird calling outside the window, the way your thoughts rise and fall like waves, the silence between two words. These small moments are not small at all. They are the training ground of attention. And attention is the true armor of the chosen. The old masters often said the body is the first temple and the mind its inner altar. To treat them carelessly is to dishonor the spirit that lives within. Every breath taken without awareness, every meal eaten in haste, every thought allowed to wander into darkness, it all leaves a mark. Slowly, unnoticed, neglect becomes weakness. There was once a Shaolin teacher who trained his disciples not with weapons but with bowls of rice. He told them, "Eat slowly, taste each grain, chew until the body feels nourished, not full." Many found this lesson harder than hours of combat drills. To control the hand in battle is easy compared to controlling the hand that feeds you. Through this discipline, they learned a secret: strength does not begin in the muscles, it begins in the choices of the small moments. Breath is the same. To the untrained, it is automatic. To the mindful, it is the bridge between the body and the spirit. A single deep breath, drawn with awareness, can steady a trembling heart. 1,000 shallow breaths, taken in distraction, scatter the mind until it grows restless. Shaolin practice teaches that mastery of the breath is mastery of energy, and mastery of energy is mastery of life. And then there are thoughts, the unseen food of the spirit. Negative words spoken within are like poison dropped into clear water. Over time, they cloud everything. But disciplined thoughts, calm, focused, humble, are like pure spring water, nourishing every corner of being. When the body is cared for, when the breath is watched, when the mind is disciplined, the spirit shines. This is why the ancients guarded even the smallest habits. They knew that strength is not granted suddenly, but woven patiently into the fabric of daily life. A restless mind runs like a wild horse, fast, loud, and without direction. Many believe that constant motion means growth, that filling every moment with action proves their worth. Yet the wise know this is illusion. A river that floods without pause destroys its banks. Only the river that learns to flow steadily brings life. In the Shaolin halls, disciples once asked why their master could sit for hours unmoving while they grew anxious after only minutes. He told them, "You mistake stillness for nothingness, but in stillness everything is revealed." At first, they did not understand. Only after years of practice did they see how silence trains the heart more deeply than motion. Restlessness is the hidden enemy of the chosen. It whispers that if you stop, you will fall behind. It pushes you to run, though you do not know the destination. But the truth is simple. One step taken with awareness carries you farther than 100 taken blindly. To sit in silence is not weakness. It is confrontation with yourself. It is the moment when the noise of the world fades and you hear the quiet weight of your own thoughts. Most fear this silence because it exposes their doubts and shadows. But to face them without running, that is mastery. Stillness is not absence of power. It is concentration of power. The archer who waits in calm strikes more true than the warrior who swings in haste. The chosen who learns to rest in silence becomes unshakable. Movement may impress the eyes, but stillness shapes the soul. In stillness you gather strength. In silence you remember who you are. Only then does true progress begin. Words are not as light as they seem. Once spoken, they travel farther than the speaker can follow, shaping hearts and bending destinies. The ancients understood this, which is why they taught their students to measure speech as carefully as gold. Too many spend their strength in careless talk, complaints, gossip, anger, and wonder later why their spirit feels empty. There is a story of a monk who gave his disciples a single feather each and told them to scatter it along the mountain path. They did so with ease, laughing as the wind carried the feathers far. The next day the master ordered them to gather every feather back. None could, for the wind had taken them beyond reach. He said, "Your words are like this. Once released, they cannot be recalled." Shaolin practice teaches silence not as absence, but as discipline. The one who speaks little does not lack voice, but builds power in reserve. Each word becomes sharper, carrying weight because it is not wasted. Just as a blade dulls when struck against stone too often, the tongue loses authority when used without care. The chosen must learn this. Loose words bleed energy. Complaints tie the soul to weakness. Gossip entangles the heart in shadows. Anger burns what it touches, including the speaker. But words of truth, blessing, and clarity build authority that cannot be shaken. To guard the mouth is to guard the spirit. Speak when it is necessary, when it is kind, when it is rooted in truth. Let actions carry what words cannot. This is the way of discipline. Few words, strong presence. In silence, your authority gathers. In mindful speech, it is released with power. A master once said, "Excellence is not a single act, but a habit engraved into the bones." In the Shaolin halls, disciples repeat the same strike thousands of times until the body no longer asks the mind for guidance. The movement becomes the disciple, flowing without hesitation. This is not done for show. It is training for the unseen battles when instinct must be pure and steady. The chosen walk a similar path. Prayer, meditation, and integrity are not meant to be rare displays, but daily disciplines. Each repeated act shapes the spirit, just as water shapes stone. It is easy to appear devoted when eyes are watching, but true mastery is forged in solitude, when no praise is given, when no reward is near. In those quiet hours, the character of a chosen one is built. There is an ancient tale of a warrior who practiced drawing his sword every night in darkness. His comrades laughed, saying no one would see such effort. Yet when battle came, his blade flashed before the enemy could even blink. What seemed unnecessary in silence became his greatest strength when tested. So it is with the inner life. Meditation repeated daily clears the mind until peace becomes second nature. Prayer practiced faithfully strengthens the heart until trust becomes unshakable. Acts of integrity carried out when no one notices build a foundation too strong for corruption. Talent fades without discipline. Inspiration dies without practice. But the one who embraces repetition, who bows to the same sacred routine each day, becomes unbreakable. Mastery is not the gift of the few. It is the patient reward of the consistent, and in the hidden places, unseen by others, the chosen are truly prepared. The path of temptation is wide and glittering. It promises quick results, wealth without labor, recognition without sacrifice, power without preparation. Many chosen ones stumble here, reaching for the fruit that ripens too fast. Yet what grows quickly often withers quickly. A tree that rises in shallow soil may look tall, but the first storm uproots it. Shaolin teaching warns against this hunger for shortcuts. Masters spend years perfecting a single stance, not because progress is slow, but because depth cannot be rushed. Strength is built layer upon layer, each invisible to the eye, yet essential to the whole. To skip steps is to weaken the foundation, and a weak foundation cannot hold great weight. There is a tale of two craftsmen. One carved his statues quickly, finishing many in a year, but their faces cracked within months. The other carved only one statue a year, shaping each detail with patience. His work stood unbroken for generations. When asked why he worked so slowly, he replied, "I do not carve for the moment, I carve for eternity." So it is with spiritual life, fame, money, hollow success. These are statues that crack with time, but integrity, discipline, stillness, these endure. True power is quiet, unseen, built in silence, long before the world notices. It does not flash like lightning. It glows like an eternal flame. The chosen must learn to resist the lure of shortcuts. What seems like delay is actually preparation. What feels like obscurity is where roots are deepened. In the soil of patience, strength grows. In the hidden years, true authority is forged. And when the storm comes, only those with deep roots will stand unshaken. To be chosen is not to be exalted above others, but to be entrusted with greater weight. Many mistake calling for superiority, yet pride is a fire that consumes its own vessel. Without humility, even divine favor becomes dangerous. The flame that should guide begins to scorch, leaving ashes where strength once stood. In Shaolin tradition, every disciple bows before training. The bow is not empty ritual. It is a reminder that strength comes from respect, respect for the path, the teacher, and the unseen forces that sustain life. To bow before rising is to declare, "I do not stand by my own power alone." There is an old tale of a warrior who grew invincible in combat. Believing himself untouchable, he stopped bowing before practice, stopped thanking those who trained with him. His skills remained, but his spirit grew hollow. In time, his downfall came not from an enemy's sword, but from arrogance that blinded him to his own weakness. The lesson was clear. Humility is not decoration, it is protection. For the chosen, kneeling before God is this same bow of the Spirit. It is the act of emptying pride, of admitting that strength, wisdom, and favor flow from a higher source. To kneel is not weakness, it is alignment. Only then can the chosen rise with authority that does not corrupt. The world may applaud rising quickly, standing tall, shining bright, but without kneeling first, the rise is hollow. The true path is this: bow before rising, kneel before leading, surrender before speaking. Fire placed in humble hands becomes light for others. Fire held in prideful hands becomes destruction. The chosen must never forget where their strength begins. There comes a moment in every journey when even the strongest falter, when the chosen feel their energy drain and their spirit weigh heavy. This weariness is not weakness, it is a signal. It arrives when you fight battles meant for others, when your heart carries burdens that are not yours to bear, when the mind races ahead of the body and the soul tires of the chase. The masters teach that the first step back from exhaustion is presence. To return to the breath is to return to yourself. There is a story of a monk who, after days of travel and toil, collapsed beside a quiet stream. His companions feared he had fallen, yet he sat motionless, eyes closed, listening to the water, feeling the rise and fall of his chest. When they returned hours later, they found him calm, restored, ready to continue as if he had never wavered. His strength had not come from action, it had come from stillness. Mindfulness is the path to this restoration. To notice the breath, to feel the body, to release what is not yours. These are practices older than any battle. They remind the chosen that not every struggle requires participation, not every worry deserves energy. By returning to the present, you reclaim the power the world has scattered. Weariness is a teacher, if listened to. It urges slowing down, observing, and releasing. When the chosen learn to ground themselves in the simple act of presence, the spirit replenishes, the mind clears, and the body regains its readiness. The path forward is not in pushing harder, but in returning to the center. In this quiet, the chosen find a reservoir of strength that no storm, no distraction, no burden can touch. There is a quiet power in consistency that the world often overlooks. Many rush toward brilliance, seeking a sudden surge that will mark them as exceptional. Yet the true chosen know that fleeting bursts of passion are like sparks. They flare, they excite, but they rarely endure. What endures is steady devotion, repeated effort carried day after day, year after year, until the soul itself grows strong. In the Shaolin temples, training is not measured in weeks or months, but in decades. A master may spend his life perfecting a single form, returning to it countless times until every movement flows from instinct rather than thought. To the untrained eye, it seems slow, even insignificant. But this slow, unbroken dedication shapes the body, sharpens the mind, and fortifies the spirit. Every day of practice is an investment in mastery that cannot be stolen or diminished. The chosen must adopt the same rhythm in their own lives. Faith is not tested in moments of excitement, but in quiet mornings when discipline calls and desire wanes. Attention must be unbroken, focused not on appearances or results, but on the integrity of each action. The small, daily decisions, prayer, meditation, acts of honesty, moments of stillness are the threads that weave a life capable of enduring storms. There is an old tale of a monk who began training as a boy, never missing a day for 50 years. When asked why he persisted despite slow progress, he said, "The river carves the valley not in a day but drop by drop. So it is with devotion. The chosen do not seek sudden glory. They commit to the long road, trusting that the steady, disciplined practice of today builds the unshakable foundation for tomorrow. In patience and persistence, power becomes unbreakable. There is a fragile line between purpose and distraction, and the chosen walk it every day. The world moves fast, filled with noise and temptation, and it will gladly pull your attention from the path. Neglect stillness, and your mind becomes a storm, unable to hear guidance. Abandon vigilance, and unseen dangers slip past, eroding your progress. Forsake humility, and the fire within burns you instead of illuminating the way. Ignore consistency, and even the strongest efforts collapse into chaos. An ancient master once told his disciples that the path is like a river, calm in some places, turbulent in others, but always moving toward the sea. The traveler who does not watch, who does not adjust, is swept aside. Those who cultivate stillness learn to see the currents before they hit. Those who remain vigilant notice the hidden rocks that threaten their journey. Humility keeps them balanced, reminding them that the river is greater than their own skill, and consistency ensures they do not drift, day after day, toward destruction. The chosen must embody these qualities, not as rules, but as habits of the spirit. They become the lens through which every decision is measured, the anchor that steadies the heart in uncertainty, the quiet flame that guides every action. When these disciplines are alive within, every step becomes aligned, every thought attuned, every act infused with purpose. To ignore them is to drift, lost in the currents of distraction and desire. To embrace them is to step fully into the role for which God prepared you, a life shaped not by chance, but by deliberate, patient cultivation. In stillness, vigilance, humility, and consistency, the chosen discover not only the path, but themselves. And on that path, nothing can unseat them from their true calling. The call to the chosen is clear. Mastery begins within. Strength is not measured by the battles you win or the recognition you gain, but by the calm, disciplined, and humble mind you cultivate each day. Watchfulness, stillness, and steady devotion are not burdens, they are the tools that shape your spirit, sharpen your focus, and guide your steps along the path you were meant to walk. Let this message serve as both warning and invitation. Return to your breath when life feels chaotic. Return to silence when the noise grows too loud. Return to vigilance when distraction whispers. Carry your fire with humility, allowing it to illuminate your life and the lives of those around you without burning what is sacred inside. Begin small, but begin today. Let every word, every thought, and every action reflect the inner mastery that Shaolin wisdom and divine truth call forth. These practices are not fleeting, they are the foundation of a life aligned with purpose and spirit. If this teaching has touched you, remember to bring it into your daily life. Watch, listen, and act with awareness. And if you wish to continue walking this path, join our community here at Shaolin Soulfire. Subscribe and let us explore the fire of wisdom together, quietly, steadily, and with purpose. Peace be with you, chosen ones. Keep your spirit strong, your heart humble, and your mind unwavering.